Today's topic especially is also very close to my heart in some ways also. I think it is very, very, very relevant to many of us as well. Uh, some time ago, I read this is a quote by Ramdas. He was a disciple of Neem Karoli Baba. So he said in a very poetic way, he said, ki, just the way when we go in a forest or in a jungle and we appreciate different trees and different shrubs and different bushes, and we don't go and then discriminate each one of them, deciding which one is better and worse. We just enjoy the experience of jungle. So he said, I try to bring that into my practice with people. I try to convert people into trees or shrubs and bushes. And he said, that is my practice to bring the acceptance of people for what they are. Mm. Now, it's not difficult to actually imagine people like sometimes they are like rose flowers, very beautiful fragrance. In their presence, we feel beautiful fragrance. And it is also not very difficult to experience people like a thorny bush, which like no matter where you touch, it is going to prick you somewhere or the other. So one wonders if that is the case, and this is the practice he suggested. This is the affirmation of the practice that we are trying to discuss this evening. People can be anything, any kind of tree, if you want to use that metaphor. So how on earth will I accept it? Because they prick at times. I can easily find if they're giving me fragrance, accepting them. So an important part of acceptance is like, and especially when we look around and see terrible things happening, I say like, we can't accept that. And it is true. So when we talk about what is the type of acceptance, this is we don't accept people's actions. They could be terrible. But the moment we fall into the trap of judging people for their actions and then putting a label on that, there is a great mistake that we go into that. I have given this example earlier, a story. I'll repeat that. Uh, one of the monks, he very renowned Buddhist monk. Earlier in his life, he was trying to help with the refuge when the war was happening. And his job was very simple. He would try to give refuge to those people who would come from the sea and then give them shelter, give them food, and then protect. This is all war-torn countries. But every time when the ship is approaching with the refugees, at times the pirates would come and then they would try to attack the ship. And then at times they will escape, but sometimes the pirate would succeed. One of these times when he was expecting like a big ship was going to come with a lot of innocent men and women and children, the pirates attacked that ship, and then it was effectively everybody died on that ship, and then he was not able to save many. So he said that that night I was very angry. He said I couldn't find myself sleeping. I was very upset about with those people also, the pirates who were doing all these things. And he says, in that despair, I fell asleep and I had a dream. So like in that dream, I just recognized myself. I found myself very small, just born in a very, very, very poor village, in a very poor family. And then he found out, and as the dream progresses, he said, like, we didn't have any food to eat, let alone any feast. So every day was a struggle. I didn't see my parents around, so I would just have to go and then fend for myself. Sometimes I get some food, sometimes I'll just fall, just sleep hungrily. This was my childhood, and slowly, slowly, as I grew up, I got with my friends, and then they had some ideas about how we can get some food. I tried to follow that, and one day one of them suggested, why don't we go and then steal the shop in the night? If we get one barrel of food, that will take care of our hunger for an entire month. And I liked that idea so much because I never saw so much food in my life. So we went and we succeeded. We were, for 1 month, we were all not sleeping hungry at all. But after 1 month, again, the same problem started. And it went on and on. And he said, then the next time, and I remember, is like the same friend and a group of friends thought about the ship. And he said, there are not one, there are 100 barrels on it. And by the time we reached there, there was security and we got into the fight. And before, he was just about to use his knife and then use it on someone, he woke up and he realized he just went through the process through which probably this pirate went through all their lives. And in that moment, what shifted inside him was very transformative. It's not that he justified their actions, but he realized where they're coming from. And he said in that acceptance, he realized they are doing what best they feel could bring them happiness. And I have to do what is I feel at most right. See, when we talk about acceptance, that's the spirit we look at. We look at not just the action which is coming out, what is bringing that action? What is the root of this ignorance? And in the moment we see it, we don't hold it against the people. See, we all understand that there is a evolution of consciousness we are part of. Aren't we all ignored at some point? Are we all, don't we fall prey to delusion? Just because someone now is falling to a delusion that we are not falling anymore for, that is a very grave mistake. We just put them like, oh, what a stupid action. But that is the ignorance we fall for. And the moment we categorize them, people, we lose the opportunity to have the compassion for them. Master, this is an example also from his life, Paramhansa Yogananda. One drunkard, he came, and because Master's hair were very long, he looked at him and he says, so, Jesus Christ, some in a drunkard language he was speaking. Now, why would Master get into these people? And not only that, in a state where he was completely inebriated. But Master looked at him and he looked deeply into his eyes, and a very blissful smile he gave. And this guy was, for a moment, was taken aback. What on earth just happened? And he says, what did you just do? So Master again mischievously says, whatever I'm drinking, it has a lot of kick in it, isn't it? And he left at that. Not that he gave him a sermon how drunken is a bad idea, and if you follow the yogic practice, you will reach where I am. None of it. Because he understood he is. That wasn't the space and time where this kind of a sermon was required. So he said, okay, this is a moment somehow Divine Mother has ordained for us to share. Why not exchange the best we can? The drunkard person could give him like this kind of a stupid looking gesture. Master gave him the divine love, what all he could give, and this person reciprocated, which is the beauty of it. You see, if we go into this religion, we'll probably look at that person with a great dejectment here. Oh, as if like we are becoming unholy because of the presence of that person. Master did none of it. See, whenever we see ignorance and we feel, oh, why is it there? It's a recognition that we have been there. That's what Master said. The only reason we don't want to steal people's money now, because we probably stole it earlier and we realize it doesn't work. When we come from that space, we don't blame people for what the actions they are doing. They just don't know it yet. Good news and inevitability is that one day they will know. And that's the evolution of the consciousness. So we accept what they are. We participate to the extent we feel called for. And we move on, just the way Master moved on. The smile is all he could give on that time. And a funny comment. Did it help? We don't know, but he did his part. The second problem with accepting people, for us, we come is because when we get into caught our own ideas. See, like there is a reason we come here every Wednesday. I share things and you listen. Many people share and we all listen and we feel, yes, yes. I don't have to convince anything to any of you actually. You probably know all of it, but by saying all of it, somehow inside ourselves something gets watered. We generate this energy. Now, with this same thought, again, this is might be a repeat story. I went to another outside school. This is the first of a kind when I went somewhere outside Ananda to share the same thing. And I was with the same enthusiasm. I was giving the same kind of a talk about how important it is to maintain yam and niyam. You shouldn't be himsak to anybody, no matter what they do to you. Now, this person says, are you out of your mind? If the some person comes and does a mean thing to me, you say, do nothing. Now, I was trying my best to convince them how by we are all one and then giving all these branches, but they were not listening. Now, how did I interpret? By the time it was one of the disastrous class I ever given. So I returned home and then just to satisfy myself, I said, they're not ready for this teaching. You see? Hmm? Complete arrogant answer. While I was trying to understand what I went wrong, there was some kind of an earnestness there, but the conclusion was they're not ready. In time, I realized it's not about their readiness or my readiness. I was force feeding them. This is not an expression they're interested in. Why don't I accept it? Why is it that my expression, is it the only way to find God? We all know, no. There's so many other saints and so many other good people doing things. Everybody is marching toward, even those who are not on an official spiritual path will eventually find God. That is what masters have been saying. So why am I shoving somebody who doesn't want to eat the food I have prepared? So simple thing, isn't it? Hmm? Why? Because this is another ignorant part. See, my truth. We're so attached to my version of it, so much so that we're protective of it. Hmm? In some ways, in this, we also water these seeds. It gives us more protection. But if you're not aware, we say, okay, this is like the best thing. There is some kind of a good incentive to that. Like we try to share it with our family, we try to share it with our friends. Kid, this is very beautiful. Please experience it. If they say no, we have to be watchful. It is not that they don't want. Maybe it is possible that they want to do it in a different way. At the end, we have found a way to water the seeds within our consciousness by doing these satsangs, by doing Kriya Yoga, by doing the practices that our master has given to us. If somebody says ki my sadhana is different, and if they're sincere about it, they will find it. And we have to allow that possibility. Every time when we find ourselves in a space of conflict, we have to be just aware ki this means I have stuck to a truth which isn't final. It could be my truth. It could be very well be working for me. It is not theirs. It is not ultimate. So we allow the other person the possibility to live their truth and we both can happily coexist. And then the last part, and this could be a far-fetched stress, but the most important part, like when we say ki we want to accept, who are we accepting? We say we don't need to accept people's deed. Once we understand where they come from, it is easy. Let them be. We can do our bit. So what is it that we are accepting? We say accept people, they are. See, one of the biggest mistake we do, like somebody comes and says a mean thing to us, or for that matter, somebody comes and then does a good thing to us. We fix that. Romila she is a very beautiful fellow because she did such a nice thing to me. On the other hand, if somebody comes and then does a quarrel or says some mean things, don't go, they're bad. A stamp has come. But if you just within ourselves, we have experienced so many different energy. Can we say that? We at times also feel very angry and upset about things like the thorny bush we talked about. We are thorny bush like that. But at times we're also just the loving kindness that they talk about. So we, within this body, we have experienced all these versions. We say, no, sometimes like our memory sort of goes against us. When we say accepting, what comes in the way? Last time I remember what happened. And we hold on to that memory. And not only that, that memory is pasted. Just like the labels, we put our names against this Zoom thing, there's a lot of labels also against all of it. And every time when we look at each other, this is what it is. And now we say, okay, accept, impossible. So look at the experience list. But we are not that. You see, even the person who was angry next day comes and say, okay, I'm so sorry. There was anger inside me, gone now. I'm a better. Please accept me. Say, no, no. When we understand, there's a very beautiful chant of Master, I am but an empty vessel. Now, we are all empty vessel. The next line of the chant may or may not be our full reality yet, which is, he said, is the filled with the presence of God. But this empty vessel is channeling different things at the time. As a practitioner of this path, as a sadhak, we consciously allow only good things to flow. We try to increase that goodness of the flow, in that the good seeds get water, and then in that the other habit pattern, bad things are not getting watered easily. But at times they will. Same with us, same with someone else. But when we don't hold on to that, when we look at that person also as a vessel, it maybe I witnessed the moment when something good or terrible went through this vessel. But now I look at it again from the perspective of it is a fresh vessel. We create a possibility, allowing person not to be some fixed, rigid identity. See, our body is changing, we have witnessed it. Something within this vessel we have experienced. It always fluctuates, always changes, it's always moving. When we look at that perspective, we allow healing. When we see the other person, Seki, is also a vessel. And in that, we let go. We forget. Don't need to forget the incident. We need to, it is a truth that what flew through that person is gone. What I'm looking at now is just a vessel of Divine Mother. So when we say I accept, this is the final level of acceptance. If we remember this as one of the first thoughts when we look at the other person, especially the one we are trying to accept with all whatever it comes with it, get there is a vessel. There's a possibility the same energy may flow from it and whatnot, but I still allow the possibility that something else also can flow it one day. With that, I think I will pause and I will just invite to close our eyes for a moment. As we just say, we are all the channels of the divine, the vessels of the divine. And let's invite the divine to flow through all of us at the moment. And then let's create such energy that everyone who is in need feels this upsurge, feels this energy through their individual experience. Allow them to experience the clarity, the healing that they all seek. Let's chant Om 3 times. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.